This is real life and death here. Some lessons are harder to learn than others. Some lessons I've experienced over and over again. It's crazy. That's why I only know what he knows. Hey, I only grow as he goes. Yeah, I gotta give my lessons from the journey, baby.
Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday, my favorite day of the week. And you know what this is? It's Lessons from the Journey Live. How are you and how was your week? I'm your host, Shawn L. Brown, and I am so excited to continue this series that we've been in called UNParented. UNParented is my pet project. Out of all of my core series, there's something special to me about this one. And what I think it is that the heart of God's children has been wounded in such a way that we're not able to fully be ourselves or step into everything that God has called and equipped us to be. And I found for myself, I'm afraid of my story in some ways, in some respects. So UNParented is the opportunity to get the freedom, flex my muscles a little bit, and become everything that Satan tried to stop me from becoming. So let me first introduce my guest. I am excited. You know, Lessons from the Journey Live, I'm no joke about it. Anybody that is on a mic or in a square, they're there because I personally know them. I personally know they are personally selected by me. I believe that they have been called and equipped to unite and change the world. So let me introduce my friends to you. I have Lina Pham, who is one of my best friends. The beauty industry, I always say, is the heart and soul of every community. We touch people in ways that you wouldn't even imagine. People think we just do hair for a living. We don't do. It's a soul work that we do. And Lina Pham is hands down what I know about her, somebody that cares about the soul. She does hair replacement. She does beautiful color. She's a phenomenal owner. She's a phenomenal teacher and educator. And didn't I mention she's my best friend, one of my bestest friends? And then I've got Tunika all the way from New York, all the way from the East Coast. And we met, let me back it up. We haven't physically met in person. We've never touched each other, but there's a soul work that God does when he wants to bring his children together, and he makes ways. And during COVID, I was doing an interview and I met Tunika then, and now we are still today connected all the way across the world, and we're still together. So Tunika, welcome to this episode 3 of Lessons from the Journey UNParented. And last but definitely not least, not only is she my friend, she's my sister. My sister Maisha Weary has a phenomenal story that I can't wait for you to hear. And I'm really proud of you, Maisha, because I know you don't love this front of the camera thing. But you know what I love about you is your ability to tell the honest truth. She's one of the people that works with me on an SLB Enterprise and behind the scenes of what we do. And one of the things I appreciate about you the most is your ability to just tell the straight up truth and to desire God's plan. So we're waiting for our expert today. So while we're waiting for her, I want to share my notes. So I always sit down and I pray and I contemplate, God, what is it that is on my heart for episode 3? And this is what he gave me. You're born into a family that we don't get to choose. Our journey in life is to make peace with them and the whole reality. It is the truth that makes us free and the lies that keep us bound. So I'm going to start with you, Technique. What do you have to make peace with? Right out the gate, what do you have to make peace with?
I don't know, to be honest. I wish I did know, because I feel like it would clear a lot out of my mind and my heart and off my plate, but I'm not sure. I ask that question all the time. Especially, I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you great.
Yeah, I'm outside, so all the interference. Yeah, I'm not sure. And the space that I'm in right now um, has me contemplating that because I want
Mm,
to move forward, but I'm not sure about how to, where to, what to, you know. I'm really not even sure, to be honest. I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop on that. I don't know what I need to make peace with. I do know when I am confronted with some situations, interestingly enough, you mentioned family. I
mm,
just had a really ugly encounter with my family, and I didn't react the way I normally would, and it just knocked me off my square a
mm,
bunch, not even a little bit. I'm not even going to brush it off like it was a small thing. And yeah, it rocks me a bit, especially in the space that I'm in now, attempting to move forward, trying to do things differently, trying to be obedient. That always doesn't work in my favor, obviously. But when things like this come back from your past, or when you're dealing with your family, who doesn't always have the inside scoop of what's going on with you, um, it's like it's like being whipped before your wounds have healed.
mm,
So
mm. That's so good.
I'm not sure.
Let me ask you this question. When I asked you about this episode, this unparented episode, what happened to you? What first came to your mind?
Which time
The
and
last
in what
time. Yeah, when I
and in what
asked you.
no, that's
Mhm.
what came to my
Oh,
mind.
oh, what
Which
time?
time?
Which time? Oh.
Was it which time at work? Which time in my family and my personal life? Like, which which one? I have a lot of
Mm,
things that I could draw from where that is concerned, and not to sound like a victim, but I'm not pushing it down anymore. I'm not attempting to. I'm not trying to, but I think, like the gentleman was saying prior to, we just get into a habit sometimes of just coping that you don't even know you're
mhm,
doing it, and
mhm.
I don't know. Sometimes I almost feel ashamed to stand up to it because I've been coping so long. You don't even know how not to let
How
it
not to
affect you.
Girl, girl, that's why we're doing this show. I mean, it is so perfect, and each person's doing a different thing, right? But I so relate to what you're saying because when you've been coping, and the coping mechanisms aren't necessarily wrong, they're just wrong for this season. And God says, well, yeah, you were wearing training skates, but now I want you to wear real skates. I want to take the training parts off so that you can soar. But you're like, but no, 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 I don't want to get rid of that. Right. So it's not necessarily that the coping mechanism is a bad thing. It's just you outgrew it. And now you have to learn how to do it a new way. I can't wait to dive deep. Lina, I'm asking you the same question. I'm gonna reread the statement. We're born into a family that we don't choose. Our journey in this life is to make peace with them and the whole reality. It is the truth that makes us free and the lies that keep us bound. What do you have to make peace with?
Hmm. So this past weekend, we had our uh, housewarming party.
Mhm.
I was very hesitant to invite my family because they keep me in a box. My past, who I was for so many years. They don't live with me. We don't do life together. So therefore they keep me there. They haven't seen the evolvement. They haven't seen what I've come out from. They don't see that I'm a whole different person, the classes that I've taken, the therapy that I've done, the work, the consistent work that I've been doing for myself. Um, there was this book. So one of the things that one of my sisters ended up coming and saying, she's stuck in a spirit of jealousy.
Mm.
So she's jealous of where I'm at because she can't be there. She'll say little things here and there to attack me. Now
Mhm.
the word says, "Guard your mouth, for everything flows from it." I don't want to speak not only towards her or comment towards her the remarks that she makes, but also don't speak of yourself because the devil can hear exactly what you say of yourself.
Mhm.
I know who I am. You don't have to believe that, but I know who I am. I know what I've been created to do and for who, to be able to move forward from my past.
That's right.
So, um, to make peace with, to answer your question, to make peace with my sister not being in my life. It's,
This is gonna
it's
be,
a boundary that I'm
yeah,
choosing to have for myself, for my mind, for my heart, for my family, for our lives.
Good for you, Lina.
yeah. That's not easy. It's
It's
not an
not
easy
easy.
thing to do. Is if people don't realize what you're saying right now, and to have the boundary without anger, right? To say I'm choosing this for myself. I'm not all blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I love you,
Mhm.
but this is the box. And if you don't want to live in my box, then I have to invite you to leave the box. Or I have to shut the door to the box. Either way, you gotta leave, or you give. But you can't. What I've been saying lately is you can't pee in my pool. Like I like my pool clean. So if you come, I don't want you peeing in my pool. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Uh,
Mhm.
Nicole, our expert is here, but I want to ask Maisha the question. I've asked this question, Nicole. I sat with the Lord, and this is the statement that He gave me this week. And so this was the opening question that I asked. We're born into a family that we don't choose. Our journey in life is to make peace with them and the whole reality. It is the truth that makes us free and the lies that keep us bound. So I've asked every lady, what do you have to make peace with? So the other two ladies have answered, and now Maisha is going to answer. Maisha, what do you have to make peace with? Can you hear me, Maisha?
Um,
Okay, sorry, I
relationships
didn't know.
just yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Relationships just as they are.
Mm.
So I have
Can
to
you
make peace
expand
with
on
the relationship.
when you
I have
say
to make peace with the relationship just as it is.
accepting the whole reality?
And
Yeah.
I like what Lena said that um not accepting, somebody else's um view of my character or my integrity.
Hmm. Yeah. You have to know yourself. So let me introduce y'all to our expert for this series, Nicole Romeo. I don't know. She does so many things for so many people in my life. I just call her, she's like my life coach, but that feels so small. Um, she's she just helps. She's my inner child coach. She helps me to understand what's happening in my inner child. I'm 56 years old, but the other day I was like, I feel like a little kid. Like I can't grow up. So I'm just excited to have you guys experience her the way I get to. So, hi, Nicole. How are you?
All is well. All is well. I've enjoyed the show so far, listening to the ladies talk.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Let me ask you, you're the coach, but what do you have to make peace with?
Getting to know myself in this stage of life. When I was a
Mm,
little girl, I had to understand, okay, well, you're going to have to meet your needs or however they were met. And then as a young adult, okay, I still have a lot of growing to do. And now, as somebody who has gone past my young adult years and are living in my adult years, who am I right now? Who am I in this season? Is really where I am making peace with.
mm. What I have to make peace with, I'm actually going to involve myself. I'm not going to just be host today. I feel like this is the
Yeah.
thing. That's my jam right here. What I have to make peace with is the story. My story. I was in church 2 Sundays ago. And while I was in church, I was having a hard time worshiping the Lord. I was having a really hard time. But when I got to the first song, I don't know what that song was, but whatever the Holy Spirit wanted to do, it struck me huge. And the Holy Spirit then said to me, your problem is you don't want me to be your father the way I defined father. You don't want a mother the way I defined mother. And you don't want a husband the the way I defined it. You've determined what it is and what is right. And I'm trying to take you to a place that you haven't been. So, what I am having to make peace with is I have to let go of my idea of what life is, what these roles and titles mean, and what God wants me to do in this season. I've never seen him spend so much time with me on how I take care of my health, um, how I steward my time, right? I thought I had a misguided understanding, and it's taken 8 years to sit me down to basically rewire my belief system. So I'm now at the place where, okay, I'm at the empty. And now I'm like, so this is what this was really all about. And I don't know how to accept it just yet. But I also know that he gives us mercy, grace, and time. And that's the relationship building, right? This is going to be another level of closeness and growth and development with my father. But today, I don't necessarily want what he's offering. But I know him well enough to know that once I get there, I'm going to like it. So I'm just going to do it with these feelings that I have today. And this is a new thing for me, accepting my real feelings. Oh, it's all new. This is completely a new thing. So yeah, that's what I got to do. So I'm going to show a clip so that we can jump into it. Tech team, can I have clip number 1, please?
What if the worst parts of your personality aren't flaws, they are bodyguards? Most people think they healed their childhood wounds. They didn't. They built a monster around them. And that monster is probably running their life right now. Most of us don't become who we truly are. We become who we needed to be to survive. The neglected child becomes addicted to attention. The rejected child becomes a people pleaser. The abandoned child learns to leave before anyone can leave. The criticized child becomes obsessed with perfection. The betrayed child trusts no one. These aren't personality traits, they are survival strategies. A monster carefully built to make sure that the original one is never felt again. And here's the tragedy: what protected you as a child can quietly imprison you as an adult. The attention you crave never feels like enough. The perfection is never perfect enough. The control is never complete enough. Because the monster can protect the wound, but it can never heal it. Every time the monster takes over, the child gets hidden a little deeper. Your coping mechanisms were never your identity, they were emergency exits. Healing begins the moment you stop feeding the monster and finally start listening to the child it was built to protect.
Lina fam, what is your inner child story?
My inner child story.
What's your child's story? What did she learn? What did your little girl take in? Let's just say birth to 7.
Birth to 7. I honestly don't know. I don't recall anything.
No recollection.
The age of 9, 8, I think 8.5 is when I started remembering things, but I don't recall
nothing.
Birth to 7.
What did the Lord have to save you from?
As a child,
whatever comes to your mind, because that was the
right
question.
now, what comes to mind, what he had to save me from was my own anger, my own rebellious anger.
What was the root of that?
Neglect. My mom didn't protect me from her husband. She allowed him to come into our rooms night after night for X amount of years. I don't know, 9 to 13 is when I started to fight back. So all those years of physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental, verbal, all of it. So I became very angry at the world. I hated men, I hated women, I hated the world. So I turned to the streets where I felt like I belonged.
Mm.
Uh, yeah. So I had a lot of rage.
It's incredible, right? Because I'm looking at you, and I'm sure the audience is looking at you like, huh? Like, she's so poised and she's so beautiful. What education level?
Eighth grade.
Eighth grade. You're like me.
I finished eighth grade.
You finished, that's me. I finished eighth grade. That was it. I finished eighth grade. And you've been able to go on to become a business owner. How many successful marriages did you see? Successful, God-fearing marriages did you see?
Growing up, none.
None. And how long have you been married to Ross?
We've been married now 13 years.
13 years. So would you say that what you're doing, you have never seen done before?
Yes, I could say that.
That's incredible. That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about. Nicole,
Well,
I'm gonna. What'd you say?
It's a fight.
It's a fight.
It's
It
a
is
fight.
a fight. It is a fight. Nicole, I'm gonna have you talk to each lady's story after they go, because I don't want to lose it. When we see the clip and then you hear Lina, what comes to your spirit as you are speaking to this inner child and the journey that she's taken with that kind of a beginning? As a coach, what are you saying to her?
Yay, you. Yay, you. Because there was so much that could have taken you down any road. And getting here today for me, there was a glitch with my phone. I couldn't figure out GPS, but there was a road I knew. And I knew if I drove west, I would get to that road. So even though you've never seen a good marriage and you've never seen something that was an example for you, your heart knew the way. Your heart was like, you know what? I know what I don't want. And for me today, getting here, I knew I didn't want to go south, because south leads me back to my house. But north would lead me to the office. So I knew no matter what the road said, how unfamiliar it was, if I continued going north by northwest, I would get to where I wanted to go. And that's each time you say no to, I'm not going to behave in a way that I saw. I am going to do this instead. I'm going to go down this path instead. You will finally get to where you look back and go, I have 13 years. Yeah, it's been a struggle. I've made some turns. But I have 13 years, and I can have 13 more, and then 13 more. One step at a time, one term at a time, one decision at a time. So I say, yay, you. Yay to your inner child who made it here, and yay to your grown-up girl who is hugging her still.
Yeah, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job with your voices, your inner voice. You know what I'm saying? You are putting on the mind of Christ and embracing it, and it's showing. It's showing on your outside, and you can see your inside radiating out. Maisha, same question to you. What's your story? What's your little girl's story? What's the imprint?
I don't remember anything up until 4th grade. That's where I start to remember. And it was chaos and lonely for me. By the time I was in the 4th grade, I was in 3 elementary schools. So that's
4th grade?
And being
Wow.
4th grade, was in 3 different elementary schools. I started in Vallejo, Rancho Vallejo. I went to Loma Vista. Some things went on between my parents, and we moved to Fairfield. And I just remember that as quick as I was in that school, I was out. So I didn't have any friends because I wasn't long enough for that. But I do remember as that little 4th grade student walking around the school by myself, eating by myself. And then I moved out of that school back to Vallejo, and that's where I went to penny cook and stayed in Vallejo till I graduated high school. But I just remember it being lonely for me.
So, what would you say your imprint is on you and yourself based on how your earliest years were spent? What's the imprint, the identity imprint?
Mm, I felt voiceless.
Mm, voiceless little
I
girl.
think that's the only imprint.
Voice.
Hmm.
That's enough. Voiceless. That's enough. I mean, you don't need a bigger one, because that's Nicole. Talk to Maisha's child as you coach. She said my imprint was voiceless. What does that do as she's moving through life in her journey with Jesus, or her
I,
journey to Jesus?
just like any journey, there's a destination, right? I want to have a voice. I want to know what my voice is and who I am and my purpose. And so each situation that I get in, am I going to be that little girl who says, you know what, I won't be listened to? Or the choice is, let me speak up and see what happens. And I have to applaud Maisha. I know her a little bit, and she is not a chatty person. She's not someone you go into a room and have small talk with. But what she does do is when she has something to say, it is something that is important, it is concise, it's direct, and it's a clean. It comes from a heart that says, I want to give this to you. It isn't just, oh, let me just talk about the weather. I don't think I'd hear that in a room with Maisha. I think I'd hear more deeper things. And I think as I speak to your little child, thank you for the gift that you are. Thank you for making it through the childhood and coming out the other end as valuable with your words. You aren't a chatty person that I know of. Maybe you are with other people. But when you speak in my presence, it's typically in such a way that you engage me and pull me, and I want to know what you have to say because I know you won't be speaking for long. Does that resonate with you?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
I'm not the, you
Yes.
know, I'm not the, life of the party kind of gal. I don't want to be center of attention.
It's
Yeah,
interesting. Go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead, Nicole.
And that could be seen as, oh, I'm timid or I want to be invisible. But in my experience, it also says, you know what? I know how important words are, and I know the weight of words. And so I'm going to give what is valuable and what is precious to me because it takes a level of effort for me to even speak up. So
Mhm.
then when you do give it, it is a gift to the hearers.
Yeah, that's good. So that's what this show is about. It's about fleshing out what are the gifts in that actually people polluted the gifts and said what you was good about you was bad, or what was right about you was wrong. And so this unparented thing is about taking off the shackles so that you can walk freely in the gifts and callings. So, technique, I'm going to ask you the same question, right? What is your story? What is your unparented story? What happened to you?
You said you gauged it until age 7, and
Yeah, let's
I
yeah, let's
have very vivid memories from. Apparently, my mom now tells me, like, you were like turning 2 years old when that happened. How do you remember? But from 0 to age 7, I could probably name 3 to 4 abusers that I've had. I know now my parents' story, and that my mother and father were kind of together, but not together. So while she was pregnant with me, she experienced a bit of abandonment that I also feel. Um, when I was born, my mother had 3 kids prior from another relationship, and two sisters and a brother. And my brother, just 2 days ago, like I said, we had a whole family situation, and it turned out to be really ugly for me, but they didn't know it because I coped with it. And instead of reacting like they normally thought that I would react, which was growth for me, it painful growth, but growth nonetheless. But yeah, my brother didn't want me. He talked about it jokingly, but he rejected me outwardly. That he didn't want the baby around him. He didn't want me around him. He wanted a little brother. Now being a mom and understanding how babies crave connection through touch and even feeling that energy of love, I know that it's a very real thing to feel abandonment, and even in an infantile stage, even when being pregnant with my mom. My mother, by 7 years old, I was very, very engulfed in my vivid imagination. So having a very vivid imagination was like, I guess now understanding my saving grace. Um, by 7, we were moving from the high-rise projects to the apartment complex type of projects. I went from having like a concrete jungle to now in this complex we had a creek, we had a waterfall. There was cars that can be parked. There was grass. There was a play area. They were kids that played together, but they were all in the same walls of the community all the time. So, you know, by the time I was in first grade, ending first grade, I had my mom's friend came to live with us, and unfortunately, in the last year and a half, he passed away. But we became very, very close. And he was a very heavy set child, you know. So I read faster than he did. I wrote my name quicker than he did. We always made him come outside to play with us, but he was always my friend. I was having to go back and grab and push along and bring along because he was a heavy child. Although he would play with us, like, you know, I was always the one to take up for Tavares because he's what I had on a child level. But by the age of 7, yeah, I had experienced a lot of abuse, a lot of crazy mixed signals that I didn't have, but I always had my creativity. I was always one who, you know, mimicked everything on TV, saw everything on TV, and watching television at the age that I was, I didn't see a lot of black women on television. So my thoughts about what was beautiful or what was acceptable wasn't surrounded around what I looked like. So there was a level of depression that kind of set in because as you get older, you know, you mingle with other kids. I went to school in a very diverse school, one of the first blue ribbon schools in the nation. So there was an intent to diversify the children. Then I would go home and it was the hood. I'd go back to school and be able to explore with the creativity. I had a Asian friend. I had lots of Jewish friends, Italian friends. You know, they weren't just kids that looked like me. So I was developing this friendship in school. By the time adolescence came and I understood more about abuse, about the things that I've gone through while my family was evolving, I started to develop this real resentment against my mom because, again, the children that I was going to school with, you know, I can remember a conversation where they were like, oh, you live in what you call an apartment house because you have steps inside, but you don't live in a house. And I didn't understand that. I really didn't get it. Then another girl came in my class who actually looked like me, and she actually lived in the house. So I started to slowly develop these resentments against my mom because I didn't understand why we didn't get to live like that. As I got older, you know, going into adolescence, I started to understand more. I started to understand my family's involvement in the streets, also while my mom was trying to maintain work and still take care of, you know, the 4 kids and maintain her persona in the street while dealing with addiction as well too. I started to get very angry with her and myself and started to take charge of my life in what I thought was taking charge. I didn't want to be a drug dealer. I didn't want to feel rejected. So I was searching for, you know, Well, the identity that I was going to create for myself, because this one I was set up in wasn't right. So hip hop
Mhm.
music at that time, music videos, very vivid, because we didn't first didn't have music videos, and then there was this wave in the '80s that showed us music vividly. So
Mhm.
I found myself being lost in that and trying to find my identity in the very political hip hop music, and in that I started to develop my own persona, and I just had a lot of resentment against my mom. I still was feeling rejected. I still don't feel like I understand who I am. I just understand who I've had to like show up to be.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
even now, I'm still, we had a party for my brother the other day, and I don't know how this ended up happening, but there's a karaoke machine, a microphone, and my brother gets the microphone and starts ripping me a new one. And it's like my family's there and everybody's joking and laughing, and he's bringing up levels of disappointment, pain that I went through, raising my kids, doing the best that I knew how, leaving abusive relationships. But from their view, from the outside looking in, I feel like Lina, like they don't really know who I am, because I go
Mhm.
within with the pain. Because in my household, my mother had 3 kids from another relationship. It was vividly known that we're brothers and sisters in this house, but this is my family and that's your family over there.
Mm.
You know what
Okay.
I mean? So
Yeah.
it was a lot of that. And as I started to try to take charge of my life, I wanted to work so bad, because when I found out my mother was a drug dealer, it was very heartbreaking. I was disappointed. And as I was building up, seeing the things at that time in our community going on, I just couldn't believe that she could even be a part of what was happening. I started to
Right.
develop this heart for what was going on in society, and if I very vocal in social studies and history class. This was me trying to take charge of who I felt like I was going to become, and I'm still struggling with that, because even as I evolve and I try to be more Christ-like,
Mhm.
the way my brother brought me back to my knees when he was on that microphone talking about my pain in a joking way, it's like as much as I try, I feel like that will always be my reality you know.
Mm.
Um, so my family thinks I'm a quitter. They think, I'm a loudmouth who doesn't know anything. I think, you're not gonna. What I guess one of the points he was making is that, you would go and work in these salons in Manhattan in New York City, and you would just quit. You know better than everybody, And he started to just go in on me, and I'm like, you have no idea what it takes to be a black woman in this industry who's trying to make a name for herself in Midtown Manhattan where nobody looks like you.
Hold
You
that
have
thought.
no idea.
Hold that thought. Let me bring the coach in real quick.
I'm sorry.
No, no, no,
Bit
baby.
of a rant.
Listen, it was a rant, but you know what? Without asking your imprint, I heard it. Nicole, listening to her from a coach's perspective, what's the imprint that you hear on technique? What's your
It's never gonna be
functional
enough.
imprint?
It's not gonna be enough. It's not ever gonna be enough for people outside of who I am when they look at me. They're gonna judge my past and they're gonna label my forehead, and I have
Mhm.
to fight to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
And I
Mhm.
don't
hearing.
want to fight anymore. I don't. And you, it's like you were there, because that's all they talked about. In the midst of my new husband and my new mind state where I'm trying to live, is that the phrase that was used was, I was a Tasmanian devil, and I
Mhm.
was fighting all the time. And the strange thing as a kid is I felt like I was being beat up all the time, emotionally, mentally, and I didn't know what to do until I had to start to try to, you know, as a teenager. Now I'm thinking, I'm going to be out of the house soon. What kind of skills am I going to have so I don't have to sell drugs? What kind of, how am I going to be able to speak so that every man doesn't take advantage of me? How
Mhm.
am I, I was trying to build this thing so I didn't become my mom, because I was so disappointed in her. And I'm still feeling rejected from my dad. I still feel rejection from my brother, because at this point now he's been to prison a few times now. He's the only male figure in our life. So And I'm like, all of you are saying that I was fighting, but fighting is one thing when you're instigating, but fighting to save your own life, is that really a fight?
Mm,
It's,
mm.
so it was really hurtful. And
You're in the
yeah.
crucible right now. I want to ask Lina a question real quick. Lina, how did you come? Because we've had some extensive conversations, and I know that you have had to battle with the belief system. Can we talk a little bit about your upgrown your what's the word I'm looking for?
Upbringing.
Thank you. It's not upgrowing. The upbringing places belief systems. What are some of the belief systems that you have had to literally fight through?
That I wasn't worthy, that I wasn't enough, that I couldn't speak up, I had no voice. It was always, shut up, you don't know anything, or you're stupid, or I'm trying to translate the words from Spanish to English. I mean, I don't know how to pronounce them honestly, but it it was, yeah, not enough. My mom needed perfection from me, yet who she was and who I seen she was far from perfect. So, um, growing up in the streets, learning how to fight. I'm listening to a technique. I had to fight. I had to fight to survive. I had to fight to get away from. I had to fight to live. I had to fight. But one thing I learned, that I didn't have to put on the gloves anymore. I didn't have to use my profanity. I didn't have to use a whole mindset of how I grew up. Less was more. Less words, less fists, more of worshiping, more of praising, fighting with my knees on the ground. My words praising him. Thank you, Lord, for allowing me to be in this situation, because that's how I'm going to grow. That's how I'm going to. I know that the enemy knows exactly how to get to me, how to get to my mind, how to get to my heart, how to get to my family, what's going to trigger me. He knows. So I have to know that he knows the tactics that he will use to get me to lose myself.
So you had to learn yourself then, is what you're saying.
Learn.
Yeah.
I had to learn.
Yeah, you had to see the coping
really
mechanisms.
Sitting back in a quiet space, crying, wailing, screaming, asking. But then I had to learn to thank him.
Thank him for what?
For
what did you have to fight to thank him for?
The abuse, the neglect, everything. Because if I did, Ava, my 11-year-old, asked me not too long ago, Mama, what is one thing that you wish you can change? And I thought about that for a second. I said, you know what, Bug? I was thinking, what there was many things I wish I would have, but I stopped and I said, you know what, Bug? Nothing. Not one thing. Because if I didn't go through what I went through, there is no way that I'm able to speak to, encourage, empower, uplift the women that God has sent into my chair. And that is how I'm able to also be free.
Was it difficult? Was it always this easy though?
Oh.
Was it always this easy just to be like, I'm going to serve the Lord and I'm going to be obedient?
But if I'm not obedient, I'm failing. And I don't want to have to keep failing the same test.
Over and over and over. So it's kind of like, bunk it.
Lina.
I'm just going to go ahead and dig in, focus on what I know to be true, even though I can't feel it. Let me go to the expert. Nicole, we have been talking about this a lot. So, Lina, you don't know this, but I have been battling. Like, why can't I feel it? I can't feel it. I'm just being obedient. And I actually was diminishing my obedience because I hadn't got to a place of feeling. Nicole, when you talk to someone who's endured, each one of us have our own unique sets of trauma, right? And then God comes along and he shares all these wonderful words with us, right? Be still and know that I'm God. But if I'm traumatized, it's hard to be still, right? So how do I be still and how do I be obedient? And how do I keep myself from beating myself up while I'm going through the growth and development process?
Early in this talk, somebody said my least favorite words, which it is what it is. When people say that, it feels dismissive to me. It feels like you're telling me get over it. But to accept the reality of what I've been through and decide, okay, I've been a survivor for a long, long time, but I need to learn how to live beyond survival because I made it through my childhood. They aren't there anymore. I'm not that little girl anymore. So how do I begin to live the thrivalist way? How do I begin to be moving out of, oh my gosh, this is about to happen, in that feeling of watching over my shoulder for the next somebody to kick dirt in my eyes, or the next somebody to reject me, or the next somebody. That begins with me. That has to start with me and my relationship to who God uniquely created me to be. And that takes the time and the level of effort to say, you know what? No, I'm not that little girl anymore. I love that little girl. I kiss her on the forehead every day. And I said, thanks for making it through. Let's go. Let's walk this out.
So it's us turning around and saying to our own inner child, come on, I know what you've been through.
Sometimes,
let's pick you up and let's do it. Let's do it together. Let's do it together.
I loved what Lady T said. I'll call you Lady T because I can't remember your whole name and I can't see it on the screen. What she said about the young man who wouldn't come outside. How she went back in the house and would get him to come out and play. That's what I have to do for myself. I have to get that person who was uniquely born to change the world, who was just diminished, discarded, left behind, tossed out, whatever I was. I now, since I survived, now in my thrivalist days, I have to go back in and say, hey, girl, you like to color. And in 4th grade, the teacher told you your coloring was horrible. So now let's get some paint. Let's play with the paint. Nobody took care of my hair when I was little. Every single picture, family picture, you'll see my afro. It looks cray, okay? It looks absolutely crazy. But in my eyes, you could see that I'm looking straight ahead at the camera, and I've got this fire in my eyes. So while I was still in survival mode, I'd look back at those pictures and I'd go, nobody took care of me, and my sister got this, or they did that. All the boys got haircuts. I got, and all of this self-talk. But now I look back at her and I look in her eyes and I go, oh my goodness, this girl was on fire. Even when I was little and going through what I was going through, I can look back in my own eyes and I still see that fierce, determined, individualistic human being, fro and all. And that's who we take by the hand. That's who we take by the hand and walk out.
That's good. That's good. Maisha, I'm coming to you. I have a 2-part question for you. What do you want to say, Maisha the adult? What does Maisha the adult need to say to Maisha the child? What words do you have for her? And then secondly, what does Maisha the child need to say to her parents that she couldn't say?
The adult to Maisha the child. It's okay to speak up for yourself. It's okay for you to speak up for yourself. Your voice is just as important as anybody else's. Now, you need to do that respectfully, but your voice is just as important as anybody else's. and
Mm.
Maisha, the child, to her parents. I think I told Shawn that as a little girl, ever remember being affirmed. You know, Nicole, you were a picture with your hair, and I can remember my mom telling me that um, I have to wash my hair separate from my siblings because the texture of my hair, my curls are tighter than their hair, their curls. And looking back, it's like instead of washing it separately, why not affirm the beauty in my hair so
Mm.
that I feel beautiful opposed to washing it separately? Now, I don't know, it's like telling a child that it's different, and because it's different, I need to wash it separately.
It's
Does
a
that make
problem.
sense?
I hear that
Get it.
you felt
I
like
get
a
that.
problem. Like there's something about you was a
Yeah, you
problem.
know, right, right. And like I said, I don't remember being affirmed as a child. I don't remember being told I love you until I was an adult.
Mm.
And so
Mm.
I also feel like it's, kids are seen and not heard.
Mm.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
and
Mm.
kind of what the other ladies have said is not being recognized for growth, but
Yeah.
and not knowing who I am now opposed to what happened then or what I did then. Because I heard something in church this past Sunday, and it's, you say, well, such and such said, but what did you say that prompted that
Oh wow.
response?
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. This is such a great. I knew this conversation was going to be good. I want to ask Technique this question because I know you're in the thick of it. You're reminding me of when I first met Lina, and Lina was about to start this transition to the next level, right? And I can remember, Lena, when we came to the Bible study at my mom's house and it was starting, remember? And you were just rocking back and forth, right? And it was the beginning. And Technique, I feel like you're right on the verge. So I need you to speak to Little Technique because Little Technique needs Big Technique to speak to her. So, Big Technique, speak to Little Technique. What's true?
I don't, I wish I could say that it's gonna be all good, or that it's not gonna be this way always. Not to that capacity as it was when I was 7, but all the stuff is still here.
Mm.
The rejection's still here. The levels of abuse tend to still be here every now and again. But again, my creative space has always been the place that I've always been able to go to and be who I felt comfortable to be. And even at this point in my life, I'm 48 years old. That's not working the way I normally thought that it would either. So I don't know what to say to her because I'm not gonna. If this was a child and me raising my children, I really believe in keeping it real with them. I used to tell them, my friends all the time, I cannot afford to sugarcoat my life around them.
Mm.
I became a mother at 20 years old. I was divorcing their father by 23 and I had an infant child who had a physical, disability at the time. And I used to tell my kids, like, I have to tell y'all what's going on for real because it's happening to us. I don't know how to shield you from this and parent you around it like it's not happening, but because it is. So I would just be for real with my little girl self. It is going to be tough.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm going to be honest, some days I don't feel like I could even see a way out of it because it just keeps happening.
Let me ask you this question.
Happening.
Let's do it this way. Let's do it this because it's important. I think this is important for you. What would Jesus say to your little girl? What do you think you read a lot of scripture. What would Jesus say? What is he saying to her?
I mean, the Bible says, "Come unto me and I'll give you rest." You know, cast your cares on me because I care for you.
Okay.
I have an expected end for you. You know, it's just when you're in it and it's not working.
I don't want you.
It doesn't feel that.
I don't want you to go there. I want you to go with what's the truth. Guys, this is something that I say all the time. I have to say what I feel, and then I got to know what I know. So we heard you say what you feel, but I want to.
Yeah, sometimes, Shawn, be honest, that's what I've been taught because my reality doesn't look that way.
That's right. Right. So the pressing into the truth of his word and remaining focused is the hardest thing you'll do. But let me tell you, from Lina Fam and I, it is the only way, because the belief system is so, and Nicole has had to come to my house. We live 8 hours away, to sit in my room with me so I could paint circles because my anxiety was at such a high level. When I moved from Northern California to Southern California and quit my job and all this stuff was gone, so I didn't have any distractions, I almost had a nervous breakdown. So what I thought was okay when I was working in hair doctor and busy and well, when that was all gone, the noise came back. It was like, and I didn't have the tools yet, but Nicole came and she was like, well, let's start here. Let's start here. So for you right now, the best thing that you can do for yourself is speak the truth to that child. Speak the truth to that child. Speak the truth, even though you don't penalize yourself for not believing it. That's why we start with what happened to you. What happened to you is what's contributing to how difficult it is for you to believe God's word. But God's word is true. And so the only thing that you can do is stay true to it. Does that make sense? Until you can believe it, you just stay true to it, and your mind will be transformed. Lina, what do you need to say to your child? What would you say?
Nothing. I don't want to say nothing to my child. Can I say something?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to say nothing to my child.
This is my third marriage technique. It's my third marriage. I got three baby daddies. I didn't do it right the first 2 times. I was the kind of person that I'm out. You do me wrong, I'm out. I never look back. I had that. I don't want to be like my mom. I will never be like my mom, where she submitted constantly to this abuse and belittled and beaten, and I wasn't going to be that. If you're going to do something wrong, I'm out. I'm good. I got me. That's the mentality I had. I got me. I knew of God, but I didn't know. I didn't have that relationship. So it's a huge difference when you have no relationship. When you read and you don't really have that conversation, that's just knowing of him. And that's what I was doing. I just knew of him. And so this next time, I'm on third marriage, I'm like, I did become my mom in a sense, because she had relationship after relationship after relationship. You know, I have no full siblings. We're all half siblings, and there's 6 of us. So how I grew up, it was more, so I had to, with my now my third husband, I said, here I go again, Lord, what? And that's when I met Shawn. I was like, I'm out, I'm good. And that's when I met her. She came into the suite and she's like, can I, however I met her, but she was a person that had to redirect me and help me stay in the game. Redirect me to the truth. Because in my mind, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this no more. I can't do this no more. I feel defeated.
Right.
What else do I have? But when she kept redirecting me to the truth, never stopped texting, never stopped calling, whether I wanted to answer or not, she was still doing it. So this time around, I had to. I don't know if you've ever watched Creed or if you know Rocky movies. Okay, Creed, one of the Creed movies where he got beat by the Russian, or I believe it was he got beat. He had to. Creed had to. He knew how to fight one way. He didn't know anything else. When he had to go outside of what he knew, he had to change up everything, and it wasn't easy. He had to learn a whole different way of fighting. So having that relationship with Jesus and renewing your mind, I kept hearing, renew your mind, renew your mind, renew your mind. I didn't know what renew your mind meant until I seen a video. And the reason why I watched this video is because my husband, my current husband, was not in a good place for the first 6 years of our relationship. When he went into the home, because he was a drug addict, when he went into the home, I had to understand what that meant. What does renew your mind? What is it going to look like for him when he comes out? What do I have to do different? Renewing your mind, according to Caroline Leaf, is having those new thoughts. New thoughts. So replacing what you know, taking that thought captive and replacing it with the truth. It's a constant repetitive until you believe it. Having on those blinders our horses have, so you can stay focused and you have no other vision but Jesus.
That's it. I mean, that is in a nutshell what this unparented reparenting process is, because the imprint is thick. Episode 4, you're going to meet Dr. Ron Elmore, and he has been a blessing to me. And one of the things that he said is only 10% of the people who profess to follow Jesus will actually go the distance, because this process is so difficult. So Technique, you are not alone. It is normal to feel exactly like you do, but I'm going to give you my words. Feel what you feel, know where you know, so you can grow how he wants you to grow, and then go where he called you to go. That's it. You are going to feel exactly how you feel. And as the peeling and the pruning is taking place, you need a support system. You need a community of people who are doing it too. So we are at the end of our time, and I hate it, but what I'm going to ask y'all to do is join us for the post-game conversation. In this post-game conversation, if you're lucky enough to be in this room, you get to meet these ladies live and ask these questions live. This conversation is so rich and so juicy, and I'm so thankful for it. So what you need to do so that you can get involved in more conversations like this, if you haven't done so already, is you need to go over to YouTube and go to the Lessons from the Journey YouTube channel, like it and subscribe to it, so then you can be abreast every time a new show comes out. And for those of you who are lucky enough, you're going to be able to continue the conversation with us right now. Nicole, before we leave, what's your last take in this session for the ladies? What's your final words?
I love what Lina talked about, and how I phrase that is moving beyond the facts and looking at the truth. Because the facts will tell you, oh man, it's always been this way. It's always going to be that way. But the truth, the voice of truth, tells me a different story. Yeah. Live by the truth.
Live by the truth. It's the truth that makes us free. It's what I said in the opening, and the lies that keep us bound. So recognize your imprint. Understand your story. So if there's parts that are numb, or you can't remember those things, that's the work where you sit with the Lord, because this journey is about being healed, whole, and made free. No blind spots. You know what you've been through. Jesus knows what he saved you from. And then you can go on to be able to support the people that have come through or need to come through what you've already come through. So until next time, you guys, I absolutely love Lessons from the Journey Live. Don't forget, every Saturday morning, 10 a.m., bring your cereal, get your blanket, and come sit down with us, because we want to live well together. How else are you going to unite and change the world? So until next Saturday, I'm Shawn L. Brown, your host. Thank you, and we'll see you next week. Bye, y'all.
This is real life and death here. Some lessons are harder to learn than others. Some lessons I've experienced over and over again. It's crazy. That's why I only know what he knows. Hey, I only grow as he goes. Yeah, I gotta give my